Hey, yo. Welcome back to Absolute Intense Wrestling's The Card is Going to Change. My name is Ronald Two Legs, and as always, I am joined by AIW owner John Thorne. What's up, Thorne?
Almost didn't make it this week.
Yeah.
Just dying. Got that bad flu that was going around on Monday. I've been down for the count for I think like 4 days, but I'm kicking out. I'm on the comeback trail right now, I think.
You said you were having some flu hallucinations. Did you come up with anything crazy?
I would like the entire Tuesday. I don't know if I was awake or asleep. It's all a hallucination, to be perfectly honest. It was bizarre. I don't think I've ever experienced anything like that, to where it was just like I felt like I was in another realm between like this world and another world.
Yeah.
That's the only way I can describe whatever this sickness is. I was just like, I don't know where I was for, I mean, there's about 20 hours that I cannot account for at all. So I don't know if I was awake or not. There's days that are just totally missing out of the week. So whatever this flu that is going around, it is no joke. But I finally felt like I wasn't dead today, so I figured we can knock out a podcast prior to Saturday.
Yeah, it seems like it's been going around. We've heard from a lot of different people that have said they've caught this influenza that's been going around, and it's definitely no joke. Like I said, though, I mean, I guess, better to get it in the beginning of the week like that than, towards the end of the week on a show week, you know what I mean? I get it out of the way, I suppose. Wish it on anyone,
yeah.
If you have to get it, I guess, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm thankful that I'm probably not going to have to miss the show. I feel like I could probably go back to my job and everything tomorrow, so.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I've been on the shelf for a few days. Like it was rough. It was a rough go, So I'm really behind on a lot of show week things that I typically need to do. So it's going to be like a cram session in the next day, on top of having to go back to work to try to, catch up on everything and figure everything out. It's just been, it's all been a blur.
Yeah, because I mean, we had, the show was affected. We had somebody drop off the show. Big Sam was pulled. That was mentioned on social media and stuff like that. So that, I'm sure that news was, did you think that you hallucinated that? You're like, you know what I mean? Like, is this real or not?
I have not figured anything out about it because, like, I got that, like, right as I was, like, getting sick. Mm-hmm. And then, I know it was the match was previously announced on Patreon. It was just hadn't been announced publicly yet. So I wanted to get ahead of that and just, put something out. And then, I mean, I just fell into this deep hole of sickness. So I've not figured that out. I have no idea how I'm going to readjust this card. I haven't been able to speak to anybody. I mean, like, I think I legit was off the map for like 36 hours this week. So, I mean, I have so much to catch up on. But yeah, I've not solved that problem at all.
Yeah, I mean, that's certainly an interesting one. I mean, we should put Sandman in there, right? Diamond Sandman. Just plug him in. I'm thinking for the March show at Roxy, Sandman. He's on March, not February. Yeah, I'm confusing my dates.
Mixing your dates. Yeah,
my brain was just scrambling trying to think of who we could put in there.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. It's a tough spot. I kind of had a feeling this was going to be what the WWID thing was going to be eventually. But I didn't think it would come so quick, like a week of a show like this. I thought we'd have a little bit more lead time to solve a problem, but I mean, it is what it is, Mm-hmm. I mean, it just sucks that I got sick and I've I think everybody's like was waiting for me to make a move, and I've been like totally just like brain dead for 3.5 days. So I'm gonna have not a lot of time to try to solve this problem now.
Yeah, it was just rough timing for sure with, getting sick like that. Because like you said, it was like right as it happened, you went radio silent there for a little while.
Yeah, I'm usually
pretty
like,
unlike
kinda,
you. Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, I'm usually at least in contact, with everybody. But I was just, I was out. I mean, yeah, it was rough. It was a rough go. So regardless, we're still gonna have a good show on Saturday. I'm really excited about it. There's seems to be a lot of excitement for us returning to Youngstown. You have Toy Ohio in the morning, which you can make an entire day out of traveling to Youngstown this Saturday between Toy Ohio and AIW. I know that several people are looking into hotels and things like that, trying to make it a day out in the Youngstown area. So, it should be fun. And, everyone, I'm not like we talked about this when, we did like the Hoof Hearted thing and stuff like that. Like, I'm not big into like the brewery scene, but a lot of people are big fans of the Penguin City beers as well. I've been hearing a lot of that from people over the last few weeks, that they're big fans of their products. So, I think it's going to be, hopefully, knock on wood, it should be a very good partnership developing here this Saturday.
Yeah, I've seen pictures of the place. The place looks really cool. They got a lot of different stuff, beverage wise. It's a pretty cool place. I think they have food. Do they have a food truck coming? You said, right?
They're getting a food truck. Yeah, I don't know if they sell food. I think maybe they get food trucks and different kind of like pop up things going on in there. Mm-hmm. I did see on their kind of lineup. It has like AIW and food truck for Saturday. So, but also, if you want to stop in the area, you can always check out the Federal, which is right in downtown Youngstown as well, not very far from Penguin City at all. That is the establishment run by Joey Vincent Martini, who will be performing on the show on Saturday, right in downtown. Featured on Bar Rescue several years ago, so for any Bar Rescue fans out there. But they have like they're always kind of changing up their menus and doing like seasonal things, and so they have like a whole brand new like Valentine's Day themed pop-up thing going on at the Federal, so definitely worth checking out before the show on Saturday. Yeah,
I saw that Valentine's, all that stuff looked pretty cool. They had all kinds of wild stuff on the menu. There's actually also I'm making a day of it. It's gonna be my wife's birthday. So we're gonna get a room like we did last time. There's a casino out there and stuff. So we're gonna make a whole day and evening out of it. But there's a hot dog place out there too that I really like, that I always go to get hot dogs from when I go out there for work. So I'm gonna see how far the venue is. I might have to be I might DoorDash some hot dogs there in the early afternoon before the food truck gets there.
Yeah, so I mean it's looking like it could be a fun little day trip for a lot of our Cleveland area fans. If you guys want to make the trip out, certainly some affordable hotels in the area for everybody that wants to partake in some of those Penguin City brews. Certainly some. Close hotels, certainly within Uber distance. I think, there's some like 10-minute, from when we were looking, there's like some 10-minute or so, 10, 15-minute hotel locations to the venue. There was also like a DoubleTree that's like right there, but I think it's pretty expensive.
Yeah, the DoubleTree is literally like across the street, but that was like in the $250 range. It was pretty expensive. I don't know, everyone's hotel range, but there's a cluster right over by the highway that's about 10 minutes or so from the venue. That there is about 8 or 9 different hotels that range anywhere from like literally $50 up to like $200, anywhere in your range there, and they all seemed pretty nice. Like I said, there was a bunch of restaurants over there. There's plenty of cheap places to stay. So yeah, definitely make a night out of it. Get a room, get a cheap room, hang out. We're all going to the casino after the show. It's going down, man. Hang out.
Yeah, I mean, I think I think the plan will probably be hang at Penguin City for a little bit. Maybe if the Federal's still open, pop over to the Federal, and then bounce over to that casino.
Yeah, because the casino is late night. That's open all night. So that's actually what happened last year. When we were in Youngstown last year, we hung out at the venue for a while, and then we were like, what can we do? It's so late. And we're like, there's a casino. Let's go.
Right. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's it could be cool, if it goes well, hopefully they'll maybe want to put one or two more on, and that could become, a little routine, pop-out spot every now and then, and it seems like it's in a cool location. It's right in downtown Youngstown. There's a lot of potential, and I think with everything that we took the time to look into, late last year, again, we've been trying to strike a deal with Penguin City for a while. A lot of people have said this is where you guys need to come in Youngstown. For 2+ years, people have been trying to get us to work something out with them, and they were finally very receptive to it. Over the summertime, we started really communicating, and we settled on this date all the way out in February. We wanted to give it a lot of lead time, put it kind of out initially, prior to us working the deal with the Roxy. This was going to be the first show of 2025, on the original AIW schedule. We were going to make this the debut show of the year.
Yeah, because didn't we usually take January off in a few years, once or twice?
Yeah.
I thought we'd done that.
So the plan was to kind of space things out, not, we were going to put some more space between, Akron and Cleveland and things like that. So we were going to go, we were going to end the year in Akron and then go Youngstown and then go Cleveland, and then go back to Akron, so there was a little bit more space in between us going to the same town. Mm-hmm. And then, obviously the deal with the Roxy popped up, but yeah, right now we only have this one date with Penguin City, but I think, if everything goes well Saturday, I would think that maybe they would be interested in more. I hope they'd be interested in more. That's always the goal, is to kind of set up that, another routine stop. I don't really want to overdo it, but, with our schedule and everything like that this year, I'm trying to be real conscious of not overexposing ourselves and getting to that, spot where, we are like struggling to sell some tickets. Mm-hmm. But I think, doing 1, 2, at max 3 a year, maybe in Youngstown, I think would be pretty good, if it goes well this weekend.
Just seems like a place that would fit our vibe too. You know what I mean? With the brewery, I feel like we've always done well in breweries. The shows that we've had, the several. I actually just went past the Goldhorn that we did the show in recently. I was down over there, but I feel like we've always done well, at brewery shows. So it would be nice to get a Youngstown market back, because I feel like we did well all the shows we did in Youngstown at the at the previous venues and stuff. With good turnouts. So
yeah, I think so. I mean. Market. I think it's it's certainly it certainly works with with our kind of territory mindset, so to speak, of Cleveland, Akron, Youngstown. I think that's very doable, to spread stuff out like that every few months, and we have a lot of people that have come through the school that live in the area as well. You have, you have Jeff Steele, who's making his debut on Saturday, who's Youngstown native, who is very integral in us returning to Youngstown, obviously, and pushing this show through, and helping getting the word out. You have people like Chase Oliver, who, while injured, is from the Youngstown area. You have, while not a native, the Darable Dog, he fought some crime in that area for about 4 years. Mm-hmm. So he's pretty familiar with those streets, the Youngstown streets. Tommy Rain, formerly known as TKD, from the Youngstown area. So, we have quite a few people from the Youngstown area that, have come through and trained. And, it's not always easy for them to, get their people to travel to Cleveland to watch them perform.
Yeah.
So, bringing a show to them in that area is pretty important, for them. And I think that, some people may look at the show and they see a lot of different people, on the lineup, and it is, these are, people that have come through the AIW program that are more Youngstown based, and, we're trying to get them, opportunities to perform as well, and they're very integral in bringing this show to the Youngstown area.
Yeah, I know. Pam and Stacy, I'm sure, are jazzed up. They a short ride to this one. They live in the area as well. After traveling out to AIW shows for how many years, they love it when we get right in their backyard. That's for sure.
Yeah, so I mean, it's just it's you got to space it out a little bit, and I think it's important to try to give those people that have come through, also Zoe Sky, she's former AIW Women's Champion. She's from the Youngstown area, like there's just all kinds of different kind of connections, interweaving, to the, that are connected to the city. Mm-hmm. In the area of Youngstown that we're trying to put a focus on for this show. And, I think it could be, a very, very big, there's a lot of, I think there's just, a wide open market and a lot of potential to bring a really high quality independent show to Youngstown right in downtown in a cool venue like Penguin City.
Yeah, I mean, that adds something to their match as well, as we've talked about in the past, to see who the crowd, is going to root for. Typically, Jocelyn has most of the crowd, if not all the crowd on her side, and now you're going to bring in a Youngstown native, and a raucous brewery crowd like this. It'll be very interested to see, half and half, 60-40, where we're going to be at on the crowd participation here is interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's, I think these brewery shows are very interesting, because you get, AIW fans, you get just brewery or beer fans, like, and you get people that are just looking to do something different on a Saturday night. So it's going to be kind of, I think, a very unique vibe. We saw that, we talked about it, way in depth when we, talked about the festival over the summer near Columbus with Hoofarda Brewery. Just the fandom of these kind of local breweries, I think, take on a life of their own. And I think when you bring events like this to these breweries, it just kind of pushes some people maybe over the edge to get out and get to these places, because it's just it's such like a niche thing, and independent wrestling is such a niche thing. I just think like breweries and independent wrestling is such like a unique and much needed marriage in just the world of entertainment. Because,
yeah, I mean,
like I was saying, like you just think about it, it's just so the parallels are so similar. You know what I mean? As far as trying to kind of get that little piece of market share in this gigantic world, respectively of each thing. And I think when you kind of combine the two worlds, it works very well. Yeah,
it's, as I say, it's definitely very niche, I guess, is what is a good word for it, like you were saying. I mean, and putting those two things together is, especially, there was a handful of people at the last brewery show when we were at Hoof Hearted that were like, man, I'm a giant, craft beer fan and wrestling fan. Like, this is like best of both worlds. Like, this is awesome. Like, they were really stoked. So, and I think we've said it many, many times on this podcast, professional wrestling is best enjoyed when having a couple beverages, so when you're in a brewery, it's kind of hard not to, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of like a non-negotiable thing for me when we're looking for venues from now on, is you have to have alcohol. I just think that's the vibe, like we're not pushing ourselves as like, like kids 10 and under free entertainment, like that's just not the vibe that we go for. I think we are very much an adult driven product, and I think that the alcohol certainly adds to that.
Yeah, I would agree. I can't imagine. I couldn't imagine AIW's show without beers. That's for sure. So, but you want to get a little bit more into this card. We were speaking at it earlier a bit ago. There is a few. There is a championship match on here, but there's also a championship rematch that I want to talk about. As we have Chavo Guerrero Jr. versus Colin Delaney. We are going to get an ECW championship rematch. They had a match for the ECW championship March 18th of 2008 is what I'm seeing here on.
Wow.
Yeah. So we're gonna get a rematch. How many ever years? Plus later.
What's the math on that? That's a while.
I don't know.
Almost 20 years ago.
Yeah, almost. I was gonna say almost 20. Yeah, like 17 or something like that. But yeah, this is.
Wow.
I tried to go back and watch the segment too, and just to see how Colin, because I wasn't watching when ECW was on WWE, that type of stuff. I was out of wrestling at the time, so sometimes I see these older clips of Colin, and it's just so incredible to see him. Now you see him now, and it's like, hey, there's Colin. I don't know that guy. I know that guy. You know what I mean? That's just so funny. Like the beginning segment there, like when he's talking about getting the match, he's like all timid and excuse me, sir, and then you see now, and he's like. Colin Delaney, legend. So it's just so funny.
Yeah, I mean, I was just thinking about, coming into a new, it's not a new territory, but we've been away from Youngstown for a bit. It's a new venue. It's a different location from the other venues we've run in the Youngstown area. So I definitely wanted to come in with a name or two, for an attraction. I just think that stuff like that just certainly. Legitimizes you, especially in a new area. If you can come in with recognizable names like Chavo Guerrero Jr. and Heath Slater, or Heath with no last name, as he's known now, but Heath in all caps. But I certainly wanted to involve some names and some people that we had worked with before that we enjoyed being around, and had fun with. And those were two guys, that we had worked with in the, Chavo and Jaylet last year. Well, a year and a half ago, whatever, 2023 Jaylet.
Yeah.
And then Heath over SummerSlam weekend. And I thought that, for a brewery show, these two guys were perfect fits. They were total pros to be around, super fun locker room guys. And worked extremely hard. I don't think it's been talked about enough. But both Chavo matches in that Jaylet, and then Heath versus Eric Taylor at Against the World. How much work that those guys actually put into those matches. They both went out and worked hard, and a lot of that had to do with the decision of what kind of names did we want to bring in to kind of re-debut in an area. And those two guys that I know that are certainly recognizable, but are going to also go out there and be able to work in front of a crowd and work hard in front of a crowd, certainly factored into it.
Yeah, I mean, Chavo, too, was such a great guy to be around, locker room guy, but just the advice and the amount of wrestling knowledge that he was able to just pass on that weekend that he was there was just so invaluable. And a guy like Heath, who's just a great locker room guy as well, who, had been around WWE for how long, and, guys like that, it's just invaluable to have around because they will drop these tiny little nuggets of stuff that you're like, if you're not paying attention, you can miss it. But some of them are just you're like, think about it and you're like, wow, that's so spot on. It was something similar to what you were talking about, how much you want to get into with the Jamie Noble seminar that you guys just had. Some of these guys are just a wealth of wrestling knowledge, you know what I mean? And it's just I think AIW is just on such a different level of the kind of talents you bring in for these students and these, the graduated students, whatever, our roster members, to just gain so much knowledge in this business from the guys that you bring in.
Yeah, I mean, the Jamie Noble seminar was just unbelievable. That the AW Academy hosted over last weekend. It was just, I want to say probably 4.5, 5 hours of just unbelievable amounts of knowledge. I had Pedro come because he never comes to the seminars, and he was just like, wow, like he couldn't believe how much he walked out of there knowing. And he's just like, I'm not even a wrestler, and I feel like I know so much more about the wrestling business than I did when I walked in here, and he was just like, it's just like an overwhelming amount of information. And that's how people break away from the pack, and that's how you just never know. All that stuff is rattling around in everybody's brains. One day they're going to use something, and that's all you can really hope for. Is you can put all this in front of them, and again, bringing in people like Chavo, bringing in people like Heath, bringing in these seminars. The goal is to just make everybody at the AW Academy better. And the Jamie Noble seminar was, if you ever have an opportunity to attend a seminar with Jamie Noble, I cannot recommend it enough. It was just an incredible experience. But on that same token, when you're able to bring in guys, and just insert them into the locker room like Chavo Guerrero Jr. and a Heath, it's very similar. You know what I mean? Like you just get similar. It's not a seminar, but you're still learning when those guys are in the locker room. It's just sometimes you don't even realize it. But like you're saying, they just will drop a little thing and they'll just say, hey, how about this? And it's like not even just the wrestlers. Like, they'll say, hey, why don't you do the music cue this way? Or why don't you wait and do the, like some of these legends, they always have a little, constructive criticism, and it's always, so beneficial and so much, there's stuff that I learned at the Jamie Noble seminar that I've done a certain way forever. And I'm just like, wow, I've been doing this wrong for 20 years. Like, I've always done it this way, and I've always done it this way because I thought of this way and to do it. And he was explaining a totally different way. And I'm just like, well, his way makes so much more sense, and I'm just like, there's just so much little things that you can pick up on, and it could be the smallest little thing, but sometimes that small little tweak is really all you need. And I don't want to glaze over Colin and Chavo, but huge opportunity for Austin James to get in there with somebody like Heath this weekend. Yeah, a guy like AJ who's, shows up, puts in his work, helps out anywhere he can and is great in the ring. These are the type of opportunities that you've been talking about for, over a year, that, you want to feed these opportunities to guys, that are built within and, grown from within, homegrown kind of guys. And I think AJ is a perfect example of that, a homegrown guy who has really, made strides in the ring and shows up when needed, stuff like that. And he's going to get a great opportunity against Heath. I'm excited for this match. I didn't even realize it was going on until when he announced it in the ring, and I said, "Oh yeah, that's gonna." Did you know that he didn't know? Did you know he didn't know it was going on until he announced it in the ring?
No. Who somebody told him right before, huh?
No. So after the match was over, I whispered to Pedro. I said, "Tell him to cut a promo and call out Heath Slater."
Yeah. Okay.
He had no idea.
That's awesome.
He had no idea.
So he had no idea. And that's another, that's a feather in the cap of AJ, having that skill to go out there and just drop, some guys, think a promo or cut this promo, this or that, used to have some time to prepare for that. He came up with all that, obviously, right there in the ring, which is impressive as well. You love to see it. So
Which I wanted, that was, it's like a little test, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was just like, he just got to win, and then it's just like, didn't want to overburden him with thinking a match ahead, even thinking he was even booked in Youngstown, and I just, on the fly, I just whispered to Pedro, tell him to cut a promo calling out Heath. And, we kind of passed that message to him. So, he finds out in real time, at the Roxy, when they give him a mic and, Pedro tells him, if you watch it back, you'll probably see Pedro whisper something to him.
Mm-hmm.
And, he finds out in real time, and he's got to come up with that promo on the fly like that, and that's just another test to see, like, hey, can you do this? Can you, because you never know, if you're a television wrestler, you never know if you have to kill time or, stretch or, cut a promo on the fly. It's just another, little, like, hey, here's just a random test that we're throwing out there for people, without them even realizing it's coming, which, I've done a zillion times to different people. I used to do it to Gargano all the time. I used to do it to, Matt Justice all the time. Wes Barkley is always good. The majority of those promos that you see on an AIW show are not called in advance. They're called on the fly. Mm-hmm. From me saying, tell them to cut a promo on this. So that was, that's how Austin James found out he was wrestling Heath was right there after he won that match in the Roxy.
That's awesome. I wonder hopefully there's some Papa John's in the Youngstown area for our guy Heath. I know he's a big fan of the Father John's.
So where is this from? This is the best pizza ever had.
That is still, I talk about that as still is like, there's just like little things, like little gifts in wrestling, that you get to have, and that was one of the best little gifts ever. Just the satisfaction on his face, just kind of taking some bites, eating it, and looking around. Like, I'm thinking in his head, he's thinking this is like from some like Cleveland pizza place, like some little craft pizza bar joint, whatever.
Yeah, like a boutique.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, he's really enjoying it. We're like, oh man, this is Papa John's. Oh shit. But yeah, speaking of the card too, we got you kind of mentioned it earlier. We do have a championship match. We're gonna see the Intense title up for grabs there with Wes Barkley, the champ, taking on Tommy Rain. He said, I was unaware that Tom was from the Youngstown area, so that'll be this will be another one where you're gonna see the crowd. Wes usually has that whole crowd in his hand. You see a lot of Barkley Nation come out and support. I will be very curious, because his people, the Barkley contingent loves a good Thursday night show at a bar, or like our brewery show, stuff like that. They've seemed to have shown out pretty big for shows like that, so I'll be curious to see if they travel to the Youngstown area for a brewery show.
Yeah, and it's just Tommy Rain's been he's been back at training pretty consistently for the last few months. Maybe not deserving of a title shot in the rankings per se. But Wes said he wanted a big challenge. He wanted somebody that was hungry. He wanted somebody that was gonna test him. And we thought certainly Tommy in his hometown, with maybe more of the support behind him, was going to be a big test. And that's how this match came together.
Yeah, like I said, I'm very interested to see that one. I'm interested to see, how you pace some of this stuff too. So we got a lot of interesting matches on the card. We did talk about earlier, going to see the debut of Jeff Steele versus Tyson Riggs. Tyson, a guy who's been climbing up the ranks and scratching and clawing, and now he's going to get a chance to kind of be that elder statesman, in the match where he's a more recent graduate. So a lot of the guys he's gotten in there with, he's been on the shorter stick of who's more green than the other. This is going to be a match where he's the vet in there, so I'm very curious to see this one. Excited to see the debut of Jeff as well.
Well, two things. I have no idea how I'm going to pace this card, because there's a lot of locally based talent. Mm-hmm. So I really don't know where I'm gonna put what on this show. To be perfectly honest, I have no idea. But as far as Jeff Steele and Tyson Riggs, it's going to be interesting, as Tyson Riggs has been getting a little bit of that fanfare the last few months. Mm-hmm. But, as history can tell us, when somebody is having their first match, they are probably going to have quite a bit of support in the building.
Oh, yeah.
And with this also being the benefit of being Jeff Steele's hometown, I have a feeling he's going to have a decent amount of support. Now, are the regular AIW fans who love Tyson Riggs going to be able to drown out the kind of new people there to support Jeff Steele? I don't know. That's to be determined if the AIW faithful is going to make that trip to Youngstown Saturday. But I certainly could see Tyson Riggs maybe. I don't know how he's going to take the potential of this new kind of fandom to maybe getting booed out of the building on Saturday.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, the highs, the lows, kind of. Yeah, right. He's been riding that high for a minute, right?
How's that impact the psyche?
Yeah.
Of, there's a lot of things, like we talked about a lot about the Roxy, and it may sound cliche or whatever, but that crowd and that energy is, it could change a lot of things. Mm-hmm. It's certain, and it could sway and momentum and all that stuff. I believe in all that. I mean, we saw that at the Roxy. That energy was real, and that atmosphere was real, and it pushed everybody to the brink of putting on the best possible performances they could. There's another factor in that is, what is that going to do to somebody who's getting used to being cheered, and they're getting booed? If that happens, mm-hmm. That's just kind of an interesting what if that could come out of this thing on Saturday.
Right. I mean, another great learning scenario for Tyson, though, too. I mean, you put him in these scenarios, and I feel like, he calls himself the sensei, but I mean, I don't know. I think, Thorne, you're the real sensei in all this, kind of showing him what's what in this whole wrestling business, for sure.
Hey, you got to throw him some curveballs every now and then.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing. I mean, I feel like his whole career, I feel like he's gotten tests and lessons, and I think everything. I feel like there hasn't been a match that Tyson's been in that wasn't some sort of kind of lesson or have some sort of value for him. And I think this is just another one that win, lose, or draw, he could take a lot from this.
Well, that's kind of the trick. Is like every match everybody has a lesson in it and has some value in
mm-hmm.
it. Some people just don't assess the value properly,
Right.
And there are talent that do not assess the value properly. They just don't. And it's just some people do and some people don't, and you see some people apply it, and you see some people that do not. But every single one of these matches that these kids get that have come through the IW Academy, it has a test, it has a value to it, it has a lesson to it. Some learn and some do not. That's just how it is.
Yeah, you can. What's the phrase? You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink, right?
Yeah, I mean, some of them need better appraisers in their ear, I guess.
I mean, I think that probably has a lot to do with it in the wrestling business, who you're listening to and who you're talking to. But that again then goes back to AIW and how great I think this company is with who you bring in. The guys that you have, these newer, or not newer, but these these fly-in talents or the out-of-town guys that come into that rotate through the AIW locker room. I mean, you're bringing in guys that you should be listening to. You know what I'm saying? Chavos, the Heaths, these type of guys.
No, absolutely. I mean, there's no lack of wrestling knowledge around. I was in my flu haze. Josh Prohibition had started a group chat with somebody and was advocating to them that between this group chat, him and I had 50 years of wrestling knowledge, and how they should listen to everything that we say. So that was that number was staggering to me, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah. Going through the card a little bit more. Obviously, we don't got to get to every little nook and cranny of it, but we'll kind of run down a few more here. We did mention you got Joey Vincent Martini taking on Isaiah Broner. two big guys going to be going at it. I don't know how much you really got to say about that. That's just kind of an attraction in its own. You know, you got a Youngstown hometown guy versus one of AIW's top big men in the company. You know, former champion. That's going to be fireworks. That's really all you need.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, Joey Vincent Martini has had, you know, various stints throughout AIW and, you know, other independents throughout Northeast Ohio. Certainly, you know, was a very highly touted prospect in his own right several different times throughout his career. You know, and I know that he did some promotional stuff with Penguin City this week. We sent it out on our the AIW Instagram. He sat down for an in-depth interview with the owners of Penguin City to promote the show. You know, another just integral piece in bringing AIW to Youngstown and hopefully making this a big success on Saturday is Joey Vincent Martini. I mean,
I'm looking forward to seeing him. I've heard a lot about him.
A lot of hometown, yeah, and there's just a lot of hometown, you know, Youngstown connections to this show, and I think you know stuff like that is very important. You know, with you know, kind of if we're going to establish some sort of roots in this city to do, you know, more than one show every few years, I think this is the way to go about it. And we have to, you know, really embrace, you know, the local talent. And Joey Vincent Martini is, bar none, the local talent from Youngstown. I mean, he's been the Youngstown guy forever. And, you know, he's been in AIW, you know, before, and I think that this is a perfect, you know, marquee matchup for him. You know, he's a big guy. Broner's a big guy. I think they're going to go out there and they're going to do some big guy shit.
Hell yeah. Going forward, we are going to see the tag champs on the card, but they're going to be split up. We're going to see some singles action from PME. We got Marino taking on the prize, Alec Price. That should be quite a match, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, this one is honestly booked no other reason than they did a match at the Steve Carino seminar, private match at the Steve Carino seminar for Steve Carino, and it was very good. And, you know, when you're kind of in the thick of things of the AIW schedule and, you know, things are, you know, kind of connected, right? Like, you know, you're going A to B to C to, you know, you're trying to kind of keep this continuity with, you know, some of the stories you're building and stuff like that. And, you know, this just kind of happened to be a show to where some things initially planned couldn't happen. And I looked and, you know, those two names are still up on the board, and I switched some things around, and, you know, just based off what they did at that Steve Carino seminar, I thought, well, you know what, like, this is I'm looking at this, even though we've been in Youngstown, like, we're going to Youngstown for the first time again, and I thought this is one that you can put out there, and this is gonna, you know, hopefully, you know, if everything else doesn't sell people on wanting us to come back, putting a match like this out there certainly should, based on what I saw at that Steve Carino seminar, impress quite a few people that are there in that crowd. And like I said, I don't know how I'm going to pace the show, but I would suspect this one's probably going to be on earlier than later to really kind of get the energy going.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you just got to put one on the card you know is going to be a great match, you know, no matter what. And I think those two, obviously, like you said, seeing it at the Steve Carino seminar, that's an easy one to throw on there for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you know, if we didn't have this extra show in Youngstown, maybe it never happens in an AIW ring, or you got to wait for a J-Lit tournament or something. But, you know, it's just kind of the way it all shook out. And I looked and I said, you know what? I'm just going to throw it out there.
Yeah, I'm very excited for that one. The flip side of that one, we're going to see Philadelphia Collins taking on Tyler Jordan. This should be an interesting one. Tyler kind of recently forming the tag team with Trey Lamar. Nipsey going to be ringside with him, so it'll be interesting to see. Do we have Fonzie for the show? I don't see
Fonzie will be there.
Fonzie will be there. So we're gonna have, obviously they got Philadelphia will have Fonzie, and Tyler Jordan will have Nipsey. There's two ends of the spectrum there on ringside partners. That's for sure. One with many years of experience, and one very new to the business, but seems to be taking on the role very well, in my opinion. I have loved everything I've seen from Nipsey personally.
Yeah, I mean, I think he certainly has put a team together, and they have some new attitudes that can't be argued. I think Philly Collins is one of the more underrated singles wrestlers. He's what you'd call a tag team specialist, but every time he's put out there in a singles situation, he over delivers, and he certainly likes to inflict some punishment on some of these young guns coming in the game. So I would not take him lightly if I were Tyler Jordan.
Yes, absolutely. A couple more left. We do have a classic AIW six-way scramble. We're going to see Malcolm Cambridge take on the Darable Dog, take on Shimbashi, take on Shelby Wilder versus Mikey Montgomery versus Dr. Daniel C. Rockingham. So a classic six-way scramble from AIW. A lot of different styles in this one. Some classic AIW characters, some new faces in AIW. This one, I don't know how much you really need to say about this one other than get your popcorn ready.
Yeah, this is, that's exactly what it is. This is your traditional AIW scramble. Like I said, I have no idea how I am going to pace this show, to be perfectly honest with you. I don't even know what we're going to do for the main event yet. So
that was where we're going next.
Yeah, there's, there's a lot of a lot of things that are going to probably happen between the time we stop recording this and Saturday rolls around. But I think it's, by all means going to be a very, very good show. I'm very excited about it. I think it's a good lineup. I think it's a fun lineup. I think it's a perfect lineup for a brewery like I said, I'm looking at it like we're going to Youngstown for the first time. So I think you're getting a little bit of everything. You're getting the AIW variety show. And, I think that if we get a good amount of people in there, you're gonna see things really, really amped up, and we've sold out of first, second, and third row tickets, which is a very good sign. Still plenty of general admissions left. We did add a fourth row, so yeah, I mean, hopefully, if we move some of those general admissions in the next 2 days, we should have a pretty decent crowd in there on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, especially with adding that fourth row of chairs too. I mean, I feel like that puts good. You got a lot of room around the ringside to where even if you're standing general admission, you still should be able to have a good view of the ring, stuff like that. So it would be great to see the house packed, get everybody in there. I'm real excited for Saturday. Like I said, it's my wife's birthday. We're gonna be having some beverages, some Penguin City beverages. It's gonna be a good time. Like you said, you're not sure what you're going to do for this main event. We had a cancellation. Obviously, Sam got pulled, so we're not really sure what we're going to do about that. But tune in, find yourself a ticket, and show up and see what happens there. I open it up for questions.
We should address as far as the streaming, similar to the Roxy. We're not going to know until we get in there if we're going to be able to stream this live or not.
Yeah.
That's why again, we're not pushing at any of these new venues a live stream until we know 100% we can live stream. That's how we did it in the Roxy. That's how we're going to do it here. If we can, you're a member, you're going to see that link go up at 7:30, and we're going to go live. If we can't, we're going to edit it and get it up as soon as possible on YouTube and on Patreon. So, that's all I can really say about that. We can't get in there and test everything until we're in there and we test everything and we know where everything's at. And, so we're not advertising a live stream until we know that there's going to be a live stream. So I just kind of want to put that out there always in advance for the people that are like, I'm just going to sit and watch it at home. We don't know. We don't know if we can stream it yet. That's just kind of the reality of when you're going into a new venue and a new building. You just don't know if they have the capabilities, where their modem is. It could be, 5,000 feet away from where the show's got to be.
Yeah.
It could be impossible. There's all sorts of different factors that go into this stuff. So we don't want to overpromise and underdeliver. So as of now, we are not promising a stream on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, it'll really, like you said, it'll really just depend on where that modem is. And I mean, the fact of the matter is it's a brewery. Where they set this internet up when they rented it or when they built it or whatever they did, it could be in a back office, God only knows where. So it's impossible, to let anyone know prior to, just because until we get in that building. I mean, as soon as if I am able to get the internet hooked up and get that modem in there, I'll text Thor and I'll tell him put the stream. We're streaming, we got the internet. But until we get to that building, unfortunately, we're just we're at the mercy of. At the mercy of the brewery. So there's nothing more than I want to stream it. I will do all my best. The AV Club, as Pedro has dubbed us, will do our best to get into this modem if they have one. That's for sure. It's not for lack of trying if for some reason we don't, but it's impossible to predict, I guess, is what you're trying to say.
Yeah, I just want to put that out there because, you just gotta say it, because if you don't say it, everyone's like, well, where's the stream at?
Yeah.
So it's just, I'm not over promising it.
Speaking of questions, if you join our Patreon, get in our Discord, we open up to questions. Or if you have any questions, you can always ask any time in there. Nick H was curious about speaking on the streaming and the streaming at a later date. We had some events over the summer that we filmed, and he was curious about when those would be up for streaming. Specifically, Slammed on 6, Second Friday, the North Canton shows, and the Wrestling Eruption from the Hoof-Hearted. I know a few of those, as we discussed. Thorne, you said Slammed on 6 just has to get commentary done, and that one's completely done, correct?
Yeah, so that one's completely done. The only thing that is missing from that is Katie Arquette versus Jocelyn Navarro. There's no footage from that because something happened. I think Chase Oliver overslept or something that day and was late. And then people were trying to record on the GoPro and cell phones and different things because we had a hard start time, and a hard out time. And he arrived late. So when he got there, that match was going on. And I think some people stopped recording thinking that his arrival meant that he had turned magically set up and turned a camera on somewhere. So there's just no there's bits and pieces of that match, I guess, but there's no complete, that match is the only one from what I understand that there's not a complete match of.
Okay.
Other than that, it is ready to go. It needs commentary on it, and I believe the Wrestling Eruption shows are in the same situation. We did have a meeting last weekend trying to get everything on the same page with getting some of this stuff together and tightened up with Chase, because people want to see this footage, and I think sometimes after it happens, it just kind of just disappears into the ethers until somebody asks for it, and then it's just like, hey man, it's February. So we did have a little meeting on Saturday trying to get to the bottom of all this stuff. I think he did say that the three from Columbus and Slammed on 6 are for sure. Slammed on 6 are ready, and then I believe we got to do the North Cantons and the Second Fridays. The only thing that I think that happened over the summer that there'll be no footage of is that first Minerva show, where I don't know if we ever discussed this, where Chase Oliver went to the wrong address, and we also had a hard out on that.
GPS snafu on that one.
Yeah, and then Cool Ass Andy filmed it all on a cell phone that he said he had 80 gigs of memory on.
Oh my god!
Something happened, so that footage just doesn't exist. So You had to be there live for that first Minerva one that happened. There's no footage of that show, I don't think at all. Maybe like the last match, I think, got recorded. I can't even remember, but everything else, there should be footage of it.
I got the basketball game that happened afterwards. We can edit that and put it out there if you really need some Minerva footage. There was a 2-on-2 basketball game between Eric Taylor and Chuck Stone and some teenagers that happened.
Yeah, but other than that,
it's gone.
everything should be coming. That's like one big thing is to kind of audit all that stuff and then get it up there. And then I want to get another big batch of stuff ready to go up into the library on YouTube. You got to go through. I got to go through, and I think I explained it before, but you got to wait and see like what music gets recognized, and then there's tools within YouTube to remove it and do all kinds of stuff. So it's kind of a long process for every single show. It's a pretty long process to get it ready to go for the archive library. But I've been working on a new batch of stuff to try to get it up and ready to go in there as well. So just slowly but surely, trying to get it all together.
Nice. I know we do have tickets on sale for our return to the Roxy in Lakewood, Barely Lethal, featuring the Sandman and Jay Lethal. So definitely get your tickets because, as we've stated before, very good chance that will sell out prior to the show.
And that's only two rows of seats. Everything else is GA.
Seating is sold out, I believe, right?
I don't know. I haven't looked. I've been in a fever haze for 2 days.
I think the seating is sold out because I think Scott Random, friend of the show, Scott Random, was in the Discord asking if anybody still had an extra ticket, because I believe he said the Roxy is sold out front rows. So, maybe it's just front row tickets. I'm not sure if seats totally. But if you're planning on, you want a seat, I would definitely check now. If you're hearing this, I would check because those will go fast for sure, if not already. And then tickets also on sale for our debut at the Globe Iron for our anniversary show in May. Get tickets for that.
I know that, I'm not going to really push this out there too much publicly, but I know around Valentine's Day week, they are planning on doing a discounted sale on general admission tickets for the AIW debut at the Globe Iron.
Okay.
So keep that in mind. They're keeping it super limited to I think they're going to discount like 20 to 30 tickets. They're doing some big AXS tickets. Are doing some big Valentine's weekend sale and asked us if we wanted to participate in it. So I decided to be a good venue partner and say yes. So they will be offering some discounts as well, as some people were able to get some discounts on T-Mobile Tuesday.
Yeah.
For AIW. So if you're a T-Mobile user, but those again super limited capacity at the Globe Iron. So very similar to the Roxy. These are real deal music venues. They're not going to be like, yeah, come on in, guys.
Mm-hmm.
They're turning people away at their capacity. So I know a lot of people got turned away at the Roxy. I have a feeling people are going to get turned away at the Globe Iron. So don't sit on those tickets. And then to the email list, we did just announce Gauntlet for the Gold, and tickets are on sale to the email list for Gauntlet for the Gold, which is April 26th at the Tadmor Shrine.
Hell yeah. Anything else you want to get to before we get out of here?
No, I just hope to see everybody Saturday. Hope we can pack this place. And, like I said, the power of the AIW fan base to, force the hands of these venues to want us back. It's a real thing. It's, we've seen it happen time and time again. So if you want AIW to keep coming to Youngstown, let's pack those GA tickets. I think I'm looking right now. It's actually, we're down to only 5 of those 4th row tickets already.
Oh wow, okay.
So it's gonna probably be nothing but GA left. So let's pack it. And just disclaimer, day of the GA tickets, this is going to be kind of a theme going forward. GA tickets are going to increase by $5 at the day of the show. This is just to encourage people to buy in advance.
It's pretty standard protocol, though, too, as well. So nothing crazy.
It's just a standard protocol that we just stopped doing a long time ago, and we're getting back to doing it. So we're giving people the incentive of a much cheaper ticket. It's $15 GA, but it's going to go up to $20 on Saturday. So just a little disclaimer for everybody. That's it. That's all I got.
All right. Well, let's see everybody this Saturday. Like I said, it's my wife's birthday. Come out, say what's up, tell her happy birthday. Let's have a couple beverages for myself, for John Thorne. Okay.
Also, we didn't talk about it, but Chavo and Heath, yes, they will be doing a meet and greet.
Oh, nice. Okay, Chavo and Heath meet and greet, definitely on the table. So come out if you want to see those guys. Come on out. So like I said, we'll see everybody Saturday. For myself, for John Thorne, for AIW. See you this Saturday. Thanks.